lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Hello race fans and welcome to the Daytona International Speedway. We are live for the Racers Elite Super Speedway Series. This is round number 2 of season number 2 here at the Daytona International Speedway. Ready to rock and rumble in Xfinity cars for 80 laps. 13 drivers are ready to hit the high banks of 31 degrees here for 200 miles. I'm Liam Irving, joined up in the booth by Shane Lake. Shane, how you doing tonight?
Man, I'm all excited when it comes to running here at Daytona, and quite frankly, this is no different. 200 miles under the lights, no less, at the birthplace of speed. We are going to have some fun tonight.
It's going to be an absolute blast here. These guys get one fast repair. They've got 75% of that fuel tank available for use, meaning they might have to make a second pit stop here tonight, Shane. What is that going to do for these guys as they try to manage what could be a very clean and green race here with only 13 drivers?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to split this into 35 and 35, depending on how things go. But the one thing you don't want to do is, well, quite frankly, be like MGK and go down pit road as the lonely one. So we'll have to wait and see how things shake out. And qualifying over, cars are moving. Let's talk about who we got on track.
Yeah, on track, on the pole is Chris Melton here tonight in the 49. He's got Greg McConey to his outside, Andrew Teft from Chicken Coop Racing in third place, and then Kirby Wainscott, a teammate there at Chicken Coop, rounding out the second row. Truth Hoke from the outsiders along with Stephen Hines, Richard Ode, Hugh Escobar, Trevor McGee, James Wagoner, Pisco, Eaton Polini, Dale Procop Valaquette, and then rounding out the field here today, going to be Zach Burek. Very late entry here, but got in. Saw him talking a little bit with Andrew before we got started here, trying to make sure he could get up into the field. We're glad you showed up here right at the end. We're in for a good show. And everybody watching here on Sim Racing Media also in for a great show. Can't thank you guys enough for tuning in here live at Daytona. It's always a blast, and I tell you what, I think we're in for some fireworks here tonight.
It wouldn't surprise me underneath the lights because the pace car has got those lights off on the top. We have got ourselves a pretty good sized mix of cars in here. We've got 6 Fords, 6 Chevrolets, and that lone Toyota, the 78 of Richard Ode here in the middle of the pack. It'll be interesting to see how these guys work together, if we're going to see a lot of teammates trying to be together, or if we're going to see some friendly alliances as this race moves on. But all I got to say is that pace car is getting ready to make that left-hand turn, and I believe we're about to go green.
Yes, sir. Getting ready to take the green flag here at Daytona. That pace car got the lights off. You can see the flames coming out of the sides of these guys as they let off of the throttle, waiting for that green flag. 13 drivers ready to rock and rumble here at Daytona. The pace car makes the hard left turn. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing here in Daytona. Strong start up on the outside for McConey, but not a lot of help as the inside lane seems to be formed up just a little bit better.
Yeah, that inside lane looked like he got a much better jump off the start, but that outside lane is starting to form itself up. McConey had a strong car in practice, so it doesn't surprise me to see him try to take the lead early, but it's not going to work as everybody is getting lined up to come off turn 2.
Be side by side coming down the back straightaway, and you can see the outside lane getting a little bit more of a push that's going to allow McConey to get in front of that 49 of Melton. Look at the inside with that push from the 98 Monster Machine. It's Andrew Tuff trying to make things happen here on the bottom of the first lap, but both lanes staying very nice and close together here in the first lap.
Yeah, McConey's going to be able to get the lead coming into the tri-oval. He's got that bottom lane cleared by a full car length. Now he's going to have the option if he wants to jump down and try to clear it, or if he's going to end up staying with Kirby up on the top shelf. And it looks like he's going to be staying with Kirby as both cars make their way to the bottom in the middle of 1 and 2.
Definitely some close action there as those guys came down in front of the 49 of Melton. Real close stuff as McConey holds out of the race lead for now. Here comes a move up on the top side from Steven Hines, though. He's got a nice push from the 72 of Hugh Escobar.
Yeah, looks like the Chevrolets are trying to line themselves up and break up the Ford party.
Know how strong these Fords can be here at these plate tracks. We've seen it in Cup racing. We've seen it in Xfinity racing. Now we're seeing one up front in the number 12 body armor Ford Mustang of Greg McConey.
Yeah, those Fords with that Yates Roush engine pack have been brutally strong on these type of tracks. So here we go again.
Fastest lap on the racetrack goes to Zach Burek, who's in 10th place right now, trying to work his way up. He's on the top side in that 81 DSD machine. That's a Chevy Camaro.
Yeah, it looks like Chris Melton decided to bail out in that 49 car and just see what he can do coming from the back of the pack to the front. So we'll be interested to see if our pole sitter can actually work his way back up.
Yeah, we will definitely see what our pole sitter can work on here, but riding on board, only one driver behind him. That's Dale Procop Valaquette. Seems like Dale's just holding his line, holding his position back here. As once again, Zach Burek has put down another fast lap, the quickest on the racetrack, with a 47.95.
Yeah, once these things get wound up, you're going to be looking at either side of 48 seconds a lap. So things do happen relatively fast in the draft with these cars.
Back up to the front, Steven Hines is taking over the race lead.
Yeah, the biggest thing everyone's doing is trying to run that inside line. It is the fastest way around unless you have some help on the top shelf. He figured he'd probably have better luck getting in front of the Ford and letting them push for a little while.
Black Rifle Coffee Chevy Camaro leads this race. Got down in front of Greg McCody. He's got himself a little bit of a stripe on that back bumper, though. Tell you what, man. Doesn't seem to be racing like a rookie.
No, definitely not. That was a veteran move coming down in front of those fast cars once he knew he was cleared. And I'm digging that paint job on our leader. That all gold hot rod's actually looking pretty good out front.
Looking pretty strong in more ways than one, both with the paint scheme and also with that inside lane. Pulling forward. See the 72 up on the top side. Hugh Escobar trying to make things happen. He's got a big push there from the 30. There's James Wagoner up on the top side. Also got the 78 of Richard Ode, the lone Toyota in the field, as you mentioned, Shane. What is it like when you're in a race like this? You have no manufacturer partners. You might be struggling to find a friend.
Well, as I referenced earlier, lonely road, take me home. And that's what that 78's thinking right now, because he's got absolutely no help. So that's where you try to make the friendly alliances and be like, hey, look, you work with me, we'll get up to the front and then we can sell it ourselves. But right now, it doesn't seem like it's working. And ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, I have sung on air for Sim Racing Media. Please let this be the last.
I'm going to do everything I can to make sure it's not. That Cowboys machine gets up to the top side of the racetrack. Hugh Escobar has got himself some speed with a push from Wagoner. Coming up off of turn number 2, they're trying to make a fight. They're trying to take fight to the inside lane. 7 laps into this race, trying to figure out what's going to work, how to make position, how to make speed throughout the course of this race. And that 30 car got a little bit off of the left rear of the 72, and that's going to cost these guys just a little bit of momentum as now they struggle to get in line once again.
Yeah, the one thing that the Xfinity Series cars can do is McConey looks like he's going to try to make it 3 wide through the tri-oval to get up in the front. He's going to slide.
I think coming up off of turn 4, he wanted to get up in front of that 72. He moved up, didn't quite have the space, but it materialized coming through the tri-oval. He moves up, takes that push, and retakes the race lead.
As I was saying before Greg made that move, the one thing the Xfinity Series cars have that the Next Gen Cup cars don't are the flat bumpers. So you can actually push people a lot more with these cars. That can be very helpful for speed, but very detrimental through the corners if you stay on somebody just a little bit too long.
Yeah, and that left rear is a point of contention. That left rear, you get up on there, you're susceptible to send somebody around. You don't want to do that, especially at the front of this pack, so the pushing game is a very delicate situation to play with. These guys definitely don't want to hit you in the wrong spot, but as Shane said, these bumpers are a little bit more flat, definitely able to slide around a little bit more on these guys, especially through the straightaways.
Yeah, but you don't want to slide around too much, because if you pick up that much more speed on somebody and you're sliding around on their back bumper, it won't take much to hook them.
No, not at all. As Greg McConey holds on to the race lead, 9 laps in, doing a pretty good job of holding on to the race lead. Excellent move he made just to get up in front of that 72. Moves back down in front of Stephen Hines, and as we come to lap number 10, Greg McConey, the Ford Mustang, holds on to a pretty good lead.
That Yates Roush power is looking strong out front early.
Relatively calm for the time being here at Daytona. This guy's staying double wide, not really pushing anything 3 wide at the moment. We know we've got at least 1 pit stop here today. Might be a chance at 2.
Yeah, depending on how things go with the draft. Like I said, with these cars, if I remember correctly, when they were at Daytona in July, they ran, well, it was August, actually. I think they ran about 55, 60 laps on a tank. So 75% of that, you're looking at about 35 to 40. So we'll have to wait and see how these guys decide to shake this out.
Well, I say everybody's kind of running conservatively right now. They're not really pushing anything 3 wide. The top 8 just put down their respective fastest laps of the race. There is only one driver who has not put down a lap that is under 48 seconds. It's the 78 of Richard Ode, and I mean, he's in this pack. It's not because he's slow. He's just not trying to run that fast right now.
No, and you can see what he's doing. He's leaving himself a gap in case something formulates in front of him where he can actually either get out of it, or if he gets a run, he can actually move around. So he's in cruise control mode right now is what I'd call it.
And just as we were saying that, he puts down a 47.89. So all of these drivers on the racetrack have gotten into the sub 48 second range. I believe that means they're averaging over 180 miles an hour. It might be 190 if my math is anywhere near correct, but these guys are blazing fast right now, and they are just picking up the speed as we continue on.
Yeah, these guys are definitely hauling some tail end around here. It's about 186 miles an hour, give or take.
Blazing fast lap times here. Once again, everybody that last time right around that 48 second mark, and everybody still in the pack. Chris Melton, who started on pole, trailing by just a couple of car lengths off of that 51 of Pete Polini. Everybody in the field is within about a second of the race lead.
Yeah, right now you got all 13 cars separated by 1.2 seconds. Our pole sitter, Chris Melton, currently riding in the back of the pack. He's just chilling. He's putting a notebook together is what he's doing.
Yeah, he's watching all this go on in front of him. He knows it's not super aggressive racing, but oh, and problems up in the front as the 10 gets turned around. The 14 down into another car there. Not sure who it was, but Trevor McGee and Kirby Wainscott. Heavy damage here on lap number 14.
As we said, everybody was being calm about things. The storm has erupted.
Sometimes you just don't open your mouth.
Ladies and gentlemen, that would be the curse of the broadcaster rearing its ugly head again.
Let's take a look to see what happened, as it looks like the 14 came down and just clipped the 10.
Yeah, it looked like something just did not go right. And both of those guys are going to be needing their fast repairs, I am sure.
Looks like the 14 might come down a little bit. Might have been a touch of net code. And it's the 9 that we saw get another piece of it with the 14. And also, with looks like another one down on the bottom. That might be Zach Burek in the 81. No, that was the 98. Andrew Teft got a piece of that as well.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate because there's going to be a lot of damage that's going to have to be fixed on these cars. Yeah, it looks like the 14 just kind of came down thinking that the 10 was a little bit lower, and unfortunately just right reared them.
Zach Burek in the 81 did get a hefty piece of that, so have to see if he takes his fast repair. But the first caution of the race out here on lap number 15. We're going to go ahead and step side by side, take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the restart. Back live here at Daytona under the first caution of the race. Couple of guys coming in to top off on fuel. That's going to be Richard Ode and Chris Melton, your pole sitter. Another quick point we want to bring up is that Kirby Wayne Scott, involved in that crash, elected not to take his fast repair. He's getting back out of the racetrack. Going to try to catch up to these guys. He might be thinking there's more to come.
Yeah, he might be. I mean, laps around here under caution are right around 2 to 2.5 minutes. So if there's optional repair around that, you'll be able to get away with it and get the car fixed while salvaging things. But at the same token, the car may not be 100% if there's more than 2.5 minutes of repair.
Oh, absolutely not going to be 100%. But is he going to have enough done to that car to be able to stay in the draft? That's going to be the big question here.
It doesn't look like there's any motor damage. Hearing it go by right there, it sounded like it was still up to full song on cylinders. So he might be okay.
Definitely something to keep an eye on as Greg McConey won the race off the pit road. Everybody came in. Hugh Escobar to his inside. Truth Hoke, James Wagoner, Dale Prokop, Zach Burek, Stephen Hines, Trevor McGee, Pete Bellini, Andrew Teft, Chris Melton, Richard Ode, and Kirby Wayne Scott caught up. He's going to round out the field.
Yeah, it looks like those guys that did have damage, I think the only one that did not take their fast repair was Kirby. So he might be thinking a little bit more long-term than everybody else.
Yeah, at this stage in the game, you've got 63 laps to go with the green flag as the pace car makes that hard left turn. You don't want to risk getting involved in something else if you've already used that fast repair. Green flag back in the air. Greg McConey going to get down and away with a huge push from the 55 machine. These guys have about 5-6 car lengths on the rest of the field.
That inside line got jumped. Wow. But here's the big problem. That they're starting to get reeled back in by this field. They could get overtaken down the back straightaway going into turn 3 and end up sliding all the way to the back. This is the problem that Dale Jr. used to have a lot of. The way his cars were geared, and a lot of those guys with those rad motors, they could get up front and stay there, but it took a while after a restart because they did get reeled in. Case in point now.
Here comes Hugh Escobar down on the inside, and like you said, reeled in like a fish here coming up off of turn number 4. Who's going to lead this first lap after the restart? McConey gets up to the outside. I couldn't tell you who led that lap. It was dead even at the stripe. These guys racing for the race lead here. 20 laps in, like they're racing on the last lap.
Scoring gave it to Escobar by about a front clip. And I don't think Wayne Scott's car is fixed up as he needs it because he's drifted all the way to the back.
Yeah, riding on board with him, you can see that pack drifting away. The speed differential just a little bit too much on the damaged race car. He's going to have to hope that there's going to be another caution before he loses a lap or before he loses a second one if he is the only one a lap down.
Yeah, right now he's getting pulled by about 2 seconds from even the back bumper of Richard Ode in that Toyota. So he has got something going on that is not promising with that 10 car.
McConey made a big block down to the inside to get in front of Hugh Escobar. Trying to block both lanes here at Daytona. Doing the Dale Jr. Pied Piper action coming up off of turn number 2 now. We'll see which lane is going to be moving faster. Looks like the top side's going to have a bit of a run. Going to be able to get side by side, and getting a little bit squirrely is the 55 of Truth Hope.
Yeah, the 81 got to that left rear when he was getting pushed. That's the problem. You pack that air on that left rear, you're going to end up getting somebody turned sideways. And Truth did a whale of a job saving that car.
This guy's starting to slip and slide around a little bit. Some contact there between the 27. Oh, and into the wall goes the 72 and 55. The 81 is going to be caught up in that as well. Zach Burek. Nobody goes around. We're still green for the time being. But heavy damage on numerous cars.
Unbelievable that we are still green after all of that.
We can see that kind of starting in the tri-oval with the 72 making contact. Now back up front, Greg McConey holds out of the race lead. Here comes Dale up on the top side. The 30 of James Wagoner up there as well.
That split this pack up big time.
Caution's
There's
going to
your
come out
caution.
now.
That changes everything.
Trying to take another look here as we're coming through the tri-oval. The 55 and 72 just hooked together.
The 81 catches the back bumper off that 72 and ends up catching the right front off the wall. And what that did for about a lap was split the pack up.
We'll see this coming up off of turn number 4. Everything kind of so far so good.
Yeah, I think what happens when they get down here towards the middle of the tri-oval, it's just a case of side drafting gone wrong. There's a little bit of contact. 72 gets a little upset, ends up coming up into the 55, and they both end up in the fence.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the 72 car loosened up on entry into the tri-oval there, but
As much as he was darting around, it wouldn't surprise me.
once again, everybody coming in under this caution. Top off on fuel. Let's take another look here coming up off of turn number 4. These guys sliding around a little bit, getting close to each other.
Yeah, the 72 comes about 3 or 4 feet up off the bottom line. He ends up coming back down, goes right into tri-oval, gets a little bit tight. Him and Truth touch once, and then they touch again, and here we go.
Looks like the 72, he might have missed the bottom a little bit on entry.
Yeah, it looks like the car was just a little tight going in. You can see right there on exit, he's about 2 to 2.5 feet up off the bottom. He turns the wheel down, and he just mistimes turning it again, and yeah. He definitely missed the bottom because he was about 3 feet off of it before contact.
Andrew Teft goes fuel only to take the race lead, win the race off of pit road. Greg McConey going to fall back to second where he started. Stephen Hines in third. James Wagoner. Trevor McGee rounding out your top 5. Kirby Wainscott still in the pits. Truth Hoke and Zach Burek getting some damage repaired. I believe both of them took their fast repair after that first incident. So it's going to be a little bit before they get those cars up to 100% if they can.
Yeah, it looks like Kirby's getting a lot more damage repaired from that first incident. I think both Truth and the 81 are probably looking at taking their fast repairs and just saying, we're going to have to be cautious the rest of the way.
Definitely a tough break. 23 laps into this race when they cross the line. Don't want to be worrying about damage this early in the show. I know it's early in the season, but you definitely want to try to take every point you can get at any point in the season. These could be missed opportunities for these guys who are sitting on pit lane right now going a lap down.
Yeah, Kirby beat the pace car out, whereas Hoke and the 81 are still sitting there getting their damage fixed. They might be banking on the fact that people may not be done wrecking.
Both drivers still in the pits. Lining up, though, at the front, it's going to be Andrew Teft on the inside with Greg McConey to his outside. Stephen Hines, James Wagoner, Trevor McGee, Dale Prokop Valiquette, Richard Ode, Chris Melton, Pete Pellini, Hugh Escobar, and then Kirby Wainscott catching up to the pack once again, getting some more damage repaired. Trying not to use that fasty.
Yeah, and this actually plays into his hand because he keeps the fast repair in his back pocket in case something else happens later on. Where, like I said, it takes about 2.5, 3 minutes to do a caution lap here. It's beneficial to him that he's actually able to keep everything in, and I believe he's going to be able to catch up before this race restarts.
I think he should be in pretty good shape.
Yeah. Just a matter of if they've got that car banged out enough to where he'll be able to keep up with the pack this time.
Definitely something we'll keep an eye on as Truth and Zach are still in pit lane. Likely to go 2 laps down with some required repairs. Leaves us 11 drivers going to be in this lead pack here with roughly 56 laps to go.
Pace car has made that hard left-hand turn. Barney the flagman's got the green flag in hand. Teft is back on the hammer. Field is spread out a little bit on this restart. We are back racing from Daytona.
Field spreading out a bit. Almost single file as the 30 tries to get down, and here comes the 2 back up to the top. Steven Hines for the race lead. James Wagoner tried to get down and block that 14 to Trevor McGee. Didn't quite have enough space. Moves up to the top side to push McConey, and that top side is working well coming up off of turn 2 on the restart.
And that's the thing, is they've got a lot more help because they're a lot tighter together than what that inside line was. That's a little bit more spread out. Those 3 cars that were up top have now taken over the front positions. It doesn't surprise me that that's already happened, with Hines and McConey leading the way.
Even the 30 of Wagoner up top all by himself, but don't look now. Here comes Chris Melton, your pole sitter, moving back up towards the front of the field, and Andrew Teft moves up to the top side of the racetrack, trying to take second place away from McConey. He's got himself a run. He's got himself a push. Can he take that run coming up off of turn number 2 as McConey is now clear for second once again? The run up on the top side of the racetrack prevails just a little bit as that side draft gonna bring McConey up the racetrack just a little bit, but the inside lane closing in on itself once again, and these guys are just dueling here going into 3.
Yeah, and we can already see a few cars towards the back of the pack here, including Kirby Wainscott, who looks like his car is fixed up pretty well because he's not dropping off of this pack. A lot of these guys here towards the back of this pack, the last 3 or 4 cars just seem to be riding and waiting for that time when something big's going to happen again.
Like you said, Kirby Wainscott here at the back of the field. That back bumper looks to be in a bit better shape. The front bumper looks to be in a bit better shape. So, I mean, if your analysis was correct, the engine not damaged, he could be in a pretty good spot here. Not having used the fast repair yet. Still fast enough to stay with this field. He might not be fast enough to make a pass for position, up front, as he makes a pass for position at the back over Melton, who's falling back once again.
Yeah, but I think Melton was just trying to see if he could actually keep some moves up there to stay up front. And since he didn't get any help, he just figured he'd drift towards the back and ride again. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's still building a notebook.
And one thing that definitely helps that 10 is to have somebody behind him taking some of the air resistance off the back bumper. As you see a push there from Hugh Escobar into the back of Trevor McGee. Gets him just a touch sideways on turn entry, but going to be able to keep him straight, stay in line. Now here comes the 72 up top, just in front of the 9. Try to make something happen. That's Hugh Escobar and Dale Procop Valaquette up on the top side.
Yeah, that 72 car has been really aggressive trying to get towards the top of this group. But unfortunately, I don't know if he's got a strong enough car to stay up there. Could be the reason why some of the lines are faltering is the pushers are in really bad positions.
Well, if you find the right pusher, you can make things happen. And it's not necessarily that somebody's a bad pusher. It's just, they might not be the best pusher for you. Right now, we're seeing what that 9 car is capable of up on the top side as he tries to push the 72 side by side for the race lead coming up off of turn number 2. These guys locked together, dead even down the back straightaway.
Tandem drafting at its finest with these Xfinity Series cars. That's what you can do with these things and get away with, is this tandem style drafting. But you gotta we got to release the rope going into the corners, because if you're still tied together, we've already seen what can happen.
Across the line, Steven Hines is going to lead as we start lap number 30. Next time by, it's going to be 50 laps to go. And Shane, like you said, these pit stops or these cautions early on, they're definitely going to guarantee us a one-stop race from here. When do you decide to make that pit stop as the 30 car gets a little bit loose coming up off of turn 2? When do you decide to make that pit stop? With so few guys in the field, how can you try to work with somebody to make a pit stop happen together?
That's when you look for people that you've raced with for the majority of this event, and you're just going to be like, hey, look, I'm coming in at this point. I know what my car can do. We're going to be relatively close on things. Come in with me so that way we're not alone. Because if you're by yourself as you come down pit road, you're going to get bypassed as you come off, because you're going to go a lap down by yourself.
Yeah, you do not want to be stuck by yourself here with a green flag pit stop situation. As we saw Zach Burek in the 81 getting back out onto the racetrack. He's going to be 8 laps down at this point in the game. So not the ideal situation for him, but he's going to be hoping for a little bit of attrition to help him out, gain some points. As got things kind of happening towards the back here. Dale is falling back a little bit. Kirby Wainscott staying in the same spot here, and then Chris Melton just enjoying the show.
Yeah, Kirby and Chris right now are just watching the chaos in front of them, but it seems like it's slowly trying to settle itself down a little bit. And as I say that, I pray to God it stays that way.
Ooh, up the racetrack goes the 9. Going to get a little bit loose up against the wall, but riding on board with Chris Melton. He sees 10 drivers in front of him. And he believes at this point that he's got the best seat in the house.
Oh, yeah, he's got the popcorn and the soda, and he's just chilling right now in the back of this field.
Starting to single file out here at this point. Only side-by-side battle involves Hugh Escobar. Seems to be falling back a little bit now. Here comes Ode up to the top side of the 78. Going to try to make a move on Teft to take away 4th place. He's got help from the 30 of Wagoner. And Hugh Escobar going to stay up top with this this 2-car tandem up in front of him, trying to get some spots once again.
Yeah, some of these guys aren't going to want to be sitting back single file and just cruising, so we'll get our excitement, but for the most part, these lines are going to be just kind of as they are for now.
Yeah, guys, going to be worrying a little bit about that pit stop that's coming up if they have to make it under green. You don't want to be side by side. You don't want to catch yourself in a compromising position. We're still a little bit of ways away from that with 47 laps to go when they cross the stripe, but once you get into that window, you might just want to get it done. Get it over with, and get back out onto the racetrack.
Yeah, but the one thing you don't want to do is slide the tires coming down pit road, because right now these guys are doing about 190, and they got to get the car slowed down to right around 60. So you got to be careful coming onto pit road here at Daytona, because the slightest overshoot and tire lockup means you're going to spend a little extra time on pit road taking on 2 tires.
Oh, and here's just an added factor to that. That's about the only time you're going to use the brakes in this race. So those things are unused. They're gonna be cold. Might be a little sketchy on pit entry.
Yeah, because a lot of these guys, they don't have the old school philosophy of how to race the restrictor plate tracks, because there are guys like Rusty and Bobby Labonte, Dale Sr., Jeff Gordon, a few others, who would actually drag the brake pedal instead of lifting off the throttle. And that's how they controlled what their cars did for runs. That way, their brakes were also a little bit warmer.
Oh, problems down the back straightaway. The 14 gets turned down, Trevor McGee.
I don't know if that's going to bring out a caution, but someone got lucky. They didn't end up hitting that inside wall.
That's Trevor McGee. Looks to be relatively undamaged after that spin.
Let's take a look here at the front end. I think he might be okay, but that broke the pack up again.
We'll wait to see if there is a delayed caution. Obviously, the second incident didn't bring out an initial caution, but that was a multi-car incident. Whereas Trevor McGee was able to, it appears, keep it off of the inside wall. We'll take a look at that if we can, but he's staying down on the inside. He might be, well, he might be coming to pit lane, but he's going to be getting back out onto the racetrack.
Yeah, I think he was feeling out the tires to see if he had anything flat because he slid a long way.
Let's take a look to see what happened.
It looks like bump draft gone wrong.
Yeah.
Right there, he should have punched the wall. So he should have center punched the wall. So he did a great job keeping that car off that inside wall.
Take a look at it in slow-mo here, and I believe it's going to be Hugh Escobar getting into the back of Wagoner, sending the 30 down into the 14. Yep. And you are absolutely right. This should, by any stretch of the means, be a front-end impact to that inside wall. Just barely missed it. Was able to get that car stopped.
I'd be concerned about those tires right now. They must be screaming in anger.
Oh, absolutely. But you almost gotta wait until the caution comes out at this point. I mean, you've kind of lucked out not being a lap down. You're still maybe 3/4 of a lap down as you've got Truth coming up behind you here. See what kind of damage he has, but a little bit of drafting help is going to be more than nothing.
Yeah, they're just going to have to lock together and hope for the best. Those two guys might be the ones that start the pit stops as well.
They could be, but running 30 seconds behind the race leader at this point, there might not be a lot to gain by doing so. I mean, you definitely are going to have to make that pit stop happen at an opportune time to lose as little time as possible to the rest of the field. But just running with those two cars, with one of them we know is damaged, it's going to be a tough ask to try to keep speed here as you see that 72 getting loose. Once again, coming up off of turn number 4. 7 cars in this lead draft, and no surprise, Chris Melton is sitting right at the back of it once again.
Again, just had the best seat in the house. He figured out how to drive through that issue down the back straightaway, and he's just chilling again. You know, latched onto the back of this pack, just waiting for his time, just biding it and biting it.
Go on board with the 7th place driver down the back straightaway, and everybody in front of him single file with the exception of that 72 up top by himself. Let's see if he keeps trying to fight up there, if he's going to fall back in line behind the 9. Doesn't seem to have a lot of help out there, but definitely got a quick car because you can tell he's not falling back big time. Now he's going to fall back in behind the 9 and make it a single file train.
Yeah, he wasn't getting a whole lot of help, but he immediately, the car goes right back up to the high side, so that tells me his car's not exactly happy right now. He doesn't have the ability to stay on the bottom.
Well, does he not have the ability to stay on the bottom, or is he just trying to play around with every run he can get? Because I can see it both ways right now. I mean, these guys didn't take tires the last time they were, actually, I believe the 72 did. The only guy who didn't take tires was Andrew Teft. So the 72 is on the same tires as everybody else. I wonder if he's just taking these runs, seeing what happens, seeing how far he can get them.
I think it's still too early to be trying to, guesstimate what you can do for runs, because you can see right there, he would have slid right back in behind that 9 car, and he didn't have the opportunity to do. So that car is not happy right now. I don't think he's able to run the bottom where he wants to. So right now, he's just taking what the car is giving him and just trying to keep a little bit of momentum up in case he does get a little bit of drafting help. If someone decides to stick their nose out, he knows how to get up there to go with them.
Definitely seen some runs materialize with the side draft on the outside. You might not need a whole heck of a lot of help, but if you can slow down the cars next to you, you can utilize a little bit of that draft to kind of pull forward. So maybe that's what Hugh is trying out here. But as we take a look over to the YouTube chat, we see Darren Robichaud saying cheers from Canada. Well, cheers to you. I love Canada, and I'm glad you're watching.
I've been through Canada a couple different times, Toronto and Montreal mainly.
I've been to Thunder Bay, which is like Canada's least impressive town. Heard
I've
from
also
Canadians, that wasn't my opinion, that was the residents' opinion.
I've also gone through Nova Scotia a few times, and trust me, it's as cold as people think it is.
Definitely a beautiful landscape up there. And
Yeah, we're just a little ways past halfway. It's been a little bit on the interesting side the first half of the race, but it also seems like it's calming down now, which means I would assume pit stops are going to be coming up before long.
probably not too far away. A couple of quick cautions in the first 20 laps, leaving a couple of drivers with some heavy damage. Zach Fury has gone back to the pits and likely is putting that thing on the hauler, done for the day. Truth still out on the racetrack in 12th place, but he is going to be 9 laps down. This field is catching up to him, looking to put him down a 10th lap. Trevor McGee just in front of Truth. We can take a look at those guys up here. Not too far from getting lapped, just crossing the start-finish line as the rest of the field is coming up off of turn number 4 through the front straightaway. So these guys, they're faster together than they are alone, but still not going to be as fast as these top 7 drivers here as they start to fan out just a little bit. Looks like Escobar's got himself some help in the 9 of Procop Valicat.
Yeah, just about had contact with Teft in the 98, so things are getting a little bit dicey again before we lead into this final round of pit stops.
Yeah, Teft is a driver who got some contact on one of the earlier incidents. Not sure if he took his fast repair or not, but he definitely does not want to add any further damage to that car. Whether he's taking it or not, you want to keep that thing as long as you possibly can, which was a great strategy used by Kirby Wainscott, who's currently sitting in 10th place with Pete Polini and James Wagoner. These guys are kind of the second pack on the racetrack. But once again, you know, the strength is in numbers. Those 7 cars up front are just blazing fast in comparison to everybody else on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, and those 3 cars are going to be in trouble when pit stops happen because as far back as they are, they could risk going down a lap once everything cycles through.
Do not want to lose a lap here at Daytona. Because yes, we know cautions can happen at any point, but at the same time, we've seen ridiculously crazy racing with no cautions coming. People banging doors 3 wide coming up off of the corner. I mean, this is some of the most exciting racing produced at this racetrack that we have ever seen. And somehow, some way, I'd say probably 50% of the time, these guys can do it clean to the finish. Not these guys specifically, I'm just talking iRacers, but Racers Elite. They call them Elite for a reason.
Yeah, there have been a few races I've called with these guys that have gone green to checkered clean. There's a race in Vegas in the Truck Series I remember that went clean and green for about an hour that was start to finish. And then there was a race we called at Pocono that gave us a finish that was 0.03 of a second difference. So it depends on what happens.
These guys know anything. They know good racing, and they know how to keep it clean, keep it tight, keep it entertaining for us up here, and obviously for you guys here on YouTube. Able to take advantage of everything that these guys are doing. Just enjoy some good quality racing here at Daytona. Only 7 cars in this lead pack. These guys kind of playing some chess, a little bit of strategy. Shane mentioned we do have one more pit stop coming for sure. It's just a matter of when do you do it. Do we see all of these drivers come in together? Are we going to see some split strategies? And if so, what does that do with this pack? What kind of separation are we going to see?
I'm keeping an eye right now on the back of this pack with Chris Melton, who's fallen off about 0.3. But I'm also watching that second pack lose about 2.5 to 3 seconds a lap between everything. So it's a lot more risky for that second pack to make a pit stop right now.
Losing a ton of time right now. You can see Wagoner Polini on the left side of your screen, Wainscott as well. Losing a ton of time. It doesn't even seem like McGee is losing time as quick as these guys are. Go ahead and take a look to see what they've got going on. It might just be a little bit of damage to these cars, because we know the 30 got turned down to the inside on that no caution. Yeah, you can see a little bit of damage to the left front fender there.
Yeah, it looks like that might be holding things up a little bit for everybody involved in this. So that might be something to get repaired on that final pit stop, as this front 7 pack is about to catch up to Truth and Trevor McGee.
See what these guys do with the rest of the pack approaching them. Looks like they're just going to move up to the outside. See if the 14 is going to be able to jump in and stay with this draft here.
Yeah, if they're smart, those guys will actually just let everybody go and then just immediately jump into the back and try to settle it out again.
Still single file for the most part. Up into the wall goes the 14 of McGee. 55 is going to ditch him, jump down. They're going to be side by side. Oh, and big problems up front.
Oh, that may have been what the wheel needed to recompress.
Huge damage to the 72 of Hugh Escobar down on the inside.
I saw the 78 backwards with the deck lid flying off.
Yeah, Richard Ode involved as well. Heavy damage to numerous drivers here. What in the world happened as we were looking away?
I think somebody got pushed in the tri-oval, and there it is.
Melton gets a piece of it too, and
I think that was Teft in the 98 that got Ode.
Yeah, you might be right there. Take another look here from a different angle.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was Teft. He got up to the outside. We might have to look back a little bit further than that, but
yeah, because there's got to be something that led to Ode trying to make a move towards the top. All right, coming out of turn 4, Ode kind of looks around a little bit. Teft gets a run, and I think we just had a simple case of bumpers getting hooked together.
yeah, it looks that way. Richard Ode stuck up against the wall here. He took a tow back to the pits. See if he's going to be able to continue.
Yeah, I think he's got a fast repair. He should be okay here. What this will do is give the 14, Trevor McGee, his lap back. It's never good when you see debris flying about 10 feet behind everybody, as we got pit stops happening. And this should be the final pit stop of the race.
Oh, and locking up the brakes is Steven Hines. He's going to overshoot his box and touch the wall. See if there's any damage done to that machine, but that's definitely going to cost him a lot of time.
And we were just discussing this not too long ago. Cold brakes just bit him big time.
Cody, first one off, Chris Melton.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of guys are sticking around to get their fuel tank full. This should, like I said, be the last stop of the event.
And a lot of these guys are getting some of this damage looked at. Chris Melton, we saw take a hefty piece of contact there. He doesn't want to take his fast repair. Andrew Teft, obviously involved in the initial contact of that incident. Kirby Wayne Scott, we saw him with damage earlier on. Hugh Escobar, he's going to have some damage to be looked at. James Wagoner, we saw him slower with that second pack. He's going to have some fenders to pull out there. So a lot of these guys trying to get some damage repair under this caution, this third of the day. Meanwhile, Greg McConey, He's able to get away pretty strong, pretty clean. He's quite possibly one of the only drivers who hasn't been involved in an incident yet today.
Yeah, he's kept that car clean all race long. He hasn't really dropped outside the top 5. It wouldn't surprise me if Marconi goes on to take the checkers here in the next 28 laps.
Blaney gets off in second place. See what he can do. He was in that second pack as well, so it'll be interesting. Steven Hines, he ends up with a 35-second pit stop, pulling that fender out after the wall contact and, of course, the sliding through. He wasn't planning on taking tires. He definitely had to after that point, so.
Yeah, easily. And some of these guys are just barely beating the pace car off the pit road, as we got a couple of guys towards the back here coming back in, get a little bit more damage fixed and topping off with fuel.
Yeah, Chris Melton here taking a little bit different strategy. He doesn't want to fall too far off, just so he doesn't have to race to catch up before the restart. Same with Kirby Wayne Scott. He's gotten a lot of his damage repaired, and well, it might be possible that Chris Melton just said, you know what? I'm going to have to go around again and just take the fast repair.
Well, it could be. I mean, anything is possible this late in the race. I mean, if you've been beating and banging your car up and you finally were like, well, we got about 25 to go on this restart, why not take the fast repair? Because if you had it in your back pocket, and go from there.
This might just be a me thing, but
yeah,
when it comes to a green-white checker, or when it comes to a fast repair, I almost don't want to use it until a green-white checker. Just because I feel like there's so much going on. There's so much at risk of happening.
I haven't run that many races with fast repairs, but the ones I did, it was strategy. It was a chess game. So I usually suck at chess, so if that says anything.
Well, speaking of the chess game, we have 10 drivers lining up to get back into this pack. 10 drivers on the lead lap. Richard Ode getting back out onto the racetrack. Well, he's catching up to this field. He's going to be one lap down, but after taking a tow, he used his fast repair. He's going to be up to steam, or up to par here. Full steam is the field. Green flag back in the air, and Greg McConey gets away strong with 27 laps to go.
Yeah, he's getting that help from Hines and that Deuce, and those two cars have been the class of the field this race so far. Doesn't surprise me to see him sitting up front.
And if you're Melton, how aggressive are you? You've spent the entire race at the back of the pack, and it's gotten you caught up in something. Now, how aggressive do you be? Do you try to take the other extreme and stay at the front the whole time?
I think now you have to. The gloves are off at this point. You have to stay up front, or else you're going to end up back here where the problems have been, and that's what's been going on. He wasn't aggressive enough. He ended up getting torn up in a couple of things. Now he's got to stay aggressive and either keep someone behind him, or if he gets clear, drop in front of McConey and try to ride this out for as long as possible.
That's one of the fantastic things about super speedway racing, is that things are kind of backwards. It's almost that turn right to go left type of deal. You've got to be more aggressive to stay out of trouble, whereas at a lot of tracks, especially short tracks, the more aggressive you are, the more likely trouble is to find you.
Turn right to go left. Wait a minute, where's Doc Hudson when we need him? Yes, I bring obscure references back.
Hey, I made the same reference too, bub. And as we refer to the 49 up on the outside, he's got himself a run almost to the side, or to the right rear quarter panel there, getting the side draft of the 12. Coming up off of turn number 4, though, he's got a bit more momentum. Inside lane prevails once again as they go through the tri-oval, but for how long?
Don't look now, but here comes good old Kirby in that 10 car. He's been torn up. He's had damage all over that car. He's got it fixed up. Now he's inside the top 6. That boy could be a factor before this race is over.
Yeah, great job with that KFC machine. That Ford Mustang doing an incredible job both on the racetrack and on pit road to get that car into shape as to where it can be competitive. I do not believe he's taken his fast repair. However, the 9 car, he's come into the pits under green flag. Interesting development there. He's going to fall off of the lead lap. And speaking of falling off, Andrew Test is at risk of falling off of this lead pack here.
I hate to say it, but I think he has fallen off that lead pack because I don't think that car was too happy with what's been going on, and I think he's just riding, waiting in case something else happens, but it's a risky strategy.
I believe he already took his fast repair after one of the earlier incidents, so he wasn't available, or it wasn't available to him during this last caution flag, so he's going to be hoping for at least one more opportunity to get that thing back to his crew, get some of those fenders pulled out, get the aero back together. Not sure if there's any engine damage to it, but I would have to believe being able to stick around as long as he did, this looks to be more aero damage.
Yeah, it's got to be aero because he's already dropped off of 2.25 seconds off of everybody, and it's slowly going up as Chris Melton has just put down fast lap of the day, 47:32.
Blazing fast lap time there out of Melton. Almost a 10th quicker than anybody else. And that's what this draft can do. If you can get it at the right time, you can get the right pull, you can get the right push, you could put down laps just insane speeds. Up on the top side, though, Melton, he's got himself a bit of a run on McConey as the inside starts to separate just a little bit. The outside has 3 cars bumper to bumper.
Yeah, and that's starting to separate itself out a little bit too because the inside line has just started to split up. Now we're going to really see what's going to happen with some of these cars.
Richard Ode had a moment coming up off of the 4th turn. A little bit loose there on entry. Goes the 2 of Hines. Going to be able to keep it straight. Doesn't slide out of line, but still a little bit of a wiggle at 190 miles an hour. Not going to feel super great as that top side gets nosed up front. Now half a car length. Ooh, up the racetrack goes the 30.
Yeah, looks like he got tagged a little bit. He was able to save it really fast. It's getting a lot more aggressive here, getting towards down the checkers.
It'll be 21 laps to go when they cross the line this time. Tell you what, this racing is so exciting. I don't even know what word to put next. These guys are doing everything that they can to try to take the lead, to try to side draft each other, to try to take these runs, and there's only 9 of them in this pack.
The entire pack was separated by a mere 1/10 of a second lap time-wise. This is some close racing at its finest.
And up on a lap car here. Potentially, looked like they were.
That lap car better get out of the way real quick. If I was him, I'd go up to the top side and just let him ride.
Yeah, it's the 9 who came in for a pit stop under green flag conditions.
Yeah, I'm a little curious as to what brought him in, to be honest, to take that long. Maybe it was just a lot of damage or something else happened. But if I was him, I'd get out of the way quick because that train's coming.
Moves up to the top
does a
side.
good
He
job.
sees him double wide. Still going to be a sketchy spot, but with that type of momentum, should be a pretty easy situation. They all get through okay, and now the 9 going to be able to try to fall back in line here, not lose too much time as Richard Ode goes back down to the bottom. He's now got somebody to fight for this free pass position. Actually,
Yep.
I lied. Dale is 2 laps down. Richard Ode is the only car. Sorry,
Yeah,
Dale is 3
Richard's
laps down. Richard Ode is 2 laps down. So he would be the
Yeah.
free pass recipient.
Yeah, Truth Hoke is currently 6 down, and Zach in the 81 has put that thing on the hauler.
Less than 20 to go. McConey leads. He's been dominant all day. And how many times have we seen that number 12 Penske Ford win at Talladega and Daytona?
Not just win, but how many close finishes has that 12 car had at places like this?
That is definitely true. He lost out on the one in 2020. We obviously don't talk about that one for reasons.
Obvious reasons.
But he beat Ryan Newman in 2019. I think twice at Talladega by a nose. Beat Harvick
Yeah.
here by a nose last year.
Well, I mean,
Won
let's
at
be
Daytona
honest.
before.
Some of those finishes, you just need to call them James Bond because they were literally 007 finishes.
That's good right there.
Oh yeah.
Chris Melton
I
making a
still-
move up on the top side. They've got momentum. Him and Wagoner up on the top, but seems like McConey on the bottom. He's really strong with the push from the two. These guys working incredibly well together. Got a Chevy and a Ford on the bottom. 2 Fords up on the top side of the racetrack. Our lone Toyota sitting in 10th place, 2 laps down.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, this is where you find your friends when you need them. And right now, it doesn't matter who's driving what. It's whoever's going to get you up to the front and can hang with you. And right now, McConey and that Deuce have been working together all race long. And it does not surprise me that they're bumper to bumper here this late in the race.
"17 laps to go, and yeah, there's only 10 cars up in this pack. 8 of them on the lead lap. Andrew Teft, the 9th car on the lead lap, has lost the draft. He's top 2.
Not just lost the draft. I think he's on pit road or something because no, he's not on pit road, but he's already lost it by 30 seconds.
Yeah, he is off the pace. He's got some damage to that car. That's really, really tough to make speed when you don't have somebody punching a hole in the air in front of you.
Yeah, he's about to get bypassed here within the next lap and a half.
"16 laps to go. No pit stops required. The top 2 are deadlocked as they have been for the last 3 or 4 laps. I tell you what, man, these guys look like they're pacing at 190 miles an hour.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you get a great group of people behind you pushing you. Is next thing you know, you're just door to door, and you're just waiting for that moment where either someone screws up or you get that one last bump. Whoa!
That was almost it right there as Hines and Wagoner made contact. Hines got loose on the inside, makes a great save. Trevor McGee loses a ton of track position trying to get away from that. It's going to separate the packs just a little bit more. Pete Pelini back here. Kirby Wainscott in 6th place. We know he's got a little bit of damage. Is he going to be able to get back up to this pack in front of him?
He's going to need some help to get up there. I mean, he's right in that danger zone of either needing to help to get up there from behind, or if a single file out, the length of the line might be able to bring him back.
It's entirely possible. It's half a second right now, and now Wagoner, that's Pete Pelini getting to the back bumper, getting close to that back bumper to try to push him back in. Trevor McGee, with help from the 55 of Truth Hope, at the tail end of this line, trying to get closer and closer, and it looks like they'll be able to get there. The top 5 are gridlocked once again, punching a huge hole in the air, and here comes the 14 of Trevor McGee to the outside of the 51. Is this
That's
going to
not gonna help.
disrupt the air, disrupt the pack?
That's definitely not going to help, but surprisingly, everyone's still relatively close. This pack could accordion back up yet again. Kirby's already found his way back up there, and here comes everybody else.
Yeah, they're accordion and rubber banding back up, like you said there, and that side-by-side action didn't really have an effect, but it was definitely an interesting move there from the 14. He's trying to get everything he can. He's racing for himself right now, and he's got a huge run up on the outside, and I think that's kind of what he saw when he moved up there. So there's a couple of guys up there. I could probably get a nice tow.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And with the outside, you're able to carry a lot more momentum because you're not trying to pinch the car down, staying off of people. So he's able to wind his car up a little bit more, and he's already back there trying to make some more headway.
Doing a fantastic job here. Speaking of fantastic jobs, Chris Melton and Greg McConey have been doing an incredible job of keeping this front end just locked even. McConey trying to He's trailing right now. He's trying to pull that 2-car back to his back bumper. We saw Hines get a little bit loose coming up off of the corner. And now here comes the 49 moving up to pull a little bit of draft off of Teft. And now they all try to close back in during the tri-oval.
Yeah, and Teft is going to latch on to the back of this pack. It splits it up momentarily, but everyone else is going to re-accordion back up. And McConey still has the advantage going through turns 1 and 2. About 12 laps to go. We about to get some fireworks.
I tell you what, if you're Richard Ode, you did not want to see the 98 stay with this pack. It looks like he might fall off yet, but should the caution come out, that 98 is going to be the free pass car. That is not what Richard Ode wants to see. He's going to need 2 cautions, 2 free passes to get back on the lead lap here. And, if he's got somebody in front of him, it's going to make it 3. 12 laps to go. It's not impossible, but it's going to get tough.
Yeah, I don't see 2 or 3 cautions happening here. The only thing I see happening, we could see one more big wreck the way these guys are getting aggressive because the drafting is getting a lot tighter. The side drafting is getting a lot closer together. These cars are going to look like they got done running Martinsville by the time this race is over.
Well, and here's another interesting thing about that, Shane, is the side draft, like you mentioned. All 3 of our major wrecks that we've seen throughout the course of today have happened because of side drafting in the tri-oval. Whether it be an aggressive move or the side draft pulling another car to you or what. We've seen 3 major incidents because of that in that one specific spot. So how aggressive can you get going through the tri-oval now as Steven Hines gets a little bit loose off a push of Escobar?
I don't think it's going to matter how aggressive people get. It's how aggressive people get behind you. And right now, the aggression level has been cranked up to 11 because the lap count is down to 10, which means we are going to be in for a lot more excitement before we're done here tonight.
Yeah, believe me, our lack of words, not because this racing is lacking any action. It's just we're trying to get pumped up and ready for this finish because we know what these guys are capable of. As you see Escobar getting down on that yellow line, getting a little bit loose, a little bit squirrely, but staying in line.
And that's the one thing people forget to realize is these cars do buff it around a lot. And case in point right there, we almost had door-to-door contact in that second row of cars. 9 laps to go. Who's going to hang on better?
Your guess is as good as mine. These 2 up front have been side by side, trading laps back and forth, probably for the last 10 or 15 at this point. Who's going to be able to step out? Is anybody going to be able to make a 3rd lane? If one guy can get cleared, what does that create in terms of opportunities for the rest of these drivers?
The question is, who does want to create the 3rd lane? Right now, where you're at is ideal because you're able to, you're still trying to maneuver yourself in that one position to where you don't get taken advantage of.
Caution!
And we got ourselves a wreck again, I believe.
James Wagoner around on the front straightaway. Kirby Wainscott, I believe, might be involved as well. He's got some more damage to that car. Front end is torn up.
Yeah, back bumper looks like it's a little bit dislodged too. Well, what happened here?
Oh.
Somebody got loose and came up in front of the field, I think.
Yeah, the 30 car got turned into the wall somehow.
Yeah, we're going to have to take a view of that, probably from like the blimp or something, to figure out what happened with that.
My bad. Try that again.
There we go, production truck. Thank you very much. Taking a happened. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like the 14 might have tapped into the back end of the 30, and that's what got him a little bit loose, sent him down the racetrack, and more contact kind of ensued from there. We'll take another look.
Yeah,
Got a
Kirby
couple
does what he
of,
can to avoid everything, but I'd still be concerned about some damage with that car if I was him.
Take one more look here. Off of turn 4. Yeah, either that 30
I
just...
saw what happened. I saw what happened. The flames out of the pipes were the telltale story. He lifted to stay off of somebody, and he got run over from behind, and that's how he got turned up in the fence.
Yeah, just super slight contact at the 14 behind him, and good catch there, seeing him with the flames at the right side. It is possible he lifted, and that's where that run came from. Just a slight touch to the right rear. Got him a little bit loose and into Stephen Hines, who's very lucky he didn't get turned into the wall as well.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's going to send Wagoner into the wall, and Kirby Wainscott as well. Kirby coming in to get that fast repair, and it looks like Wagoner has saved his as well. So these guys, yes, unfortunate to be involved in the incident, but they do have a little bit of a backup plan, or safety net, if you will.
Yeah, and Andrew Teft is on pit road right now trying to get his car fixed up some more, along with the 9 of DPV. These guys, I think, used their fast repairs up early, and now they're kind of sitting on pit road. Teft is just now leaving. A minute 33, it looks like. No, minute 8 on the pit stop, it looks like. So I think he was getting his car fixed up a little bit more.
Definitely. Those fenders look better, but still not ideal. But with 7 laps to go, you kind of got to take what you can get. If it's enough to stay in this pack, you've got a chance.
Yeah, and I don't think we're done wrecking these cars up yet. There's going to be some big move that's going to take everybody and their brother out coming up. And the pace car's lights are off.
Now, Shane, that leaves us 5 laps to go when they take the green flag. We thought the intensity was up through the roof before. We are about to tear the roof off of Daytona International Speedway.
Don't you just love a good old Friday night shootout at a Superspeedway?
Oh, there's nothing better. It's overcast right now, too. Maybe a little bit of fog rolling in. So, as you can see with some of these camera angles, it looks dark. These guys are struggling. I wouldn't say struggling to see, but I mean, these types of camera angles make it look a lot better than it is.
Yeah, the chopper itself is having issues. I think the guys trackside. I've been in conditions like this before. You can probably see maybe a few hundred feet in front of you, but yet again, you're also covering a few hundred feet in about 2 seconds. So you really got to be quick on your toes, especially this late in these conditions.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking about Pocono 2016 levels of fog or anything like that, but it's just enough as to where when you get up into this type of camera angle up above the lights, you can't really see through it.
No, you really can't. I mean, we're lucky we got what we got right now, but any further up and we're going to have problems. So you might want to tell that chopper to stay about 300 feet, and I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, iRacing does an amazing job with making realistic weather conditions, and you can see here's another angle from afar where you can see there's just not a lot of light to get through to the camera. We're going to have 5 laps to go here.
This reminds me of Martinsville before they put lights in when Jeff Gordon ended up winning in 2015. We could barely see anything going on.
Pace car makes the hard left turn. Green flag back in the air, and Hines all over the back bumper of McConey, not letting that outside get a chance to formulate. Here comes Melton down to the inside. Wagoner moves down to the inside, and he's going to leave that 72 of Hugh Escobar high and dry, all by his lonesome up on the top.
I'm a little bit surprised that McConey and Hines got that run that they did on that start, and everybody has just basically single filed out. Could this be a huge strategy play to try to make things a little bit more interesting towards the end of this race? Because I don't think they're going to stay single file long.
No, they're not, as Polini moves up to the top side. Almost 3 wide there as Wagoner moves up. Escobar tries to follow, and here comes Kirby. Wayne Scott up on the outside, right up next to the wall, almost comes down into the 30. See a little bit of checking up coming up off of turn number 4, but these guys stay clean and green for the first lap. 4 more. 10 miles here at Daytona.
Kirby rubbing the right side paint off of that KFC 10 because he came out of turn 4. He's trying to do everything he can to get up to the front because he knows it's a limited time offer to try to get up there because McConey and Hines are getting ready to start checking out on everybody. But yet again, they still got the pole sitter lurking behind them, Chris Melton, and then sitting in 4th, Pistol Pete Poloni. We're not done racing here yet, folks.
Greg McConey holds out of the race lead. Hines stays in behind him, but Melton moved up to the top side. He has no help. As you said, Poloni moves into P3. Got a big push from that 14 machine, but here comes Teft up on the outside. A little bit of damage to that race car, but he pulls up behind that 49 like there's nothing wrong with it. 3 laps to go.
And that's the thing is, as long as you're able to keep the air off the front of that car, how many races have we seen with cars completely destroyed that shouldn't have ended up winning races actually end up winning at track like this?
Do you remember Eric Jones' Clash
the front
win?
of that front of that thing was stoved. But right now, it doesn't matter how much damage you've got sitting on that car as everybody's getting ready to come down here. Out of turns 3 and 4, the popsicle sticks are about to go up in the air. We're going to have 2 laps to go coming to the line.
5 more miles to decide a winner at Daytona. This may be a super speedway series, but Daytona just holds so much more value when your name is announced as the victor. Side by side for the race lead, Melton with a huge push from Teft. Polini slides up the racetrack, almost gets into the 10 of Kirby Wayne Scott. Gonna stop that inside line's momentum just a little bit, but the tandem on the inside not letting up. Here comes Melton on the outside with a big push and problems down the back straightaway. Around goes almost everybody in the field. Andrew Teft got turned around with Stephen Hines, and caution comes out with 2 laps to go. James Wagoner got another piece of it. The 14 of Trevor McGee. Pete Polini, we saw. Stephen Hines and Andrew Teft, the first to go around to bring out the caution and set up overtime.
Here's the interesting thing. Hines still has his fast repair sitting in his back pocket.
That
he
is huge.
Far from done.
Take a look to see what happened here. Try to break it down here.
It looks like it's just a bad side draft or something. As we take a look. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Kirby
Kirby
came
got
down a
turned
little
in.
bit.
Kirby got turned down by the 72. The way that car darted going down the back straightaway, he got hit.
Try to slow it down here.
Watch that 72 car, that blue and white car behind Kirby. He's gonna get a run, try to get up to the outside. He realizes it's not gonna work. They check up a little bit in front of him. Kapow! You can see the flame shoot out of Kirby's pipes the moment he got hit.
And the track immediately blocks off. You can see the 30 and the 72 door banging. That knocks the 30 up into the wall. So Wagoner with some serious right side damage. It looks like the 72 in the same position as well.
Yeah, the question is how many of these guys are going to have their fast repairs available. Again, Hines, it looks like he's getting ready to come in. Poloni's already out. I think he ended up taking a fast repair.
Yeah, I think Polini had a fast repair.
The 14 looks like he's going to try to maintain what he's got. The only 2 to come away from that wreck, Melton and McConey. That is insane.
Try to watch on the 14 here. See how significant his damage is.
I don't think he has a lot.
Depends on that front end impact, but might be okay.
Yeah. I think he might have gotten away with it.
It is entirely possible. We'll find out. He's going to restart in fourth. We know the top two. Well, Melton's had to use his fast repair. I'm not sure if Greg McConey has seen or scraped that car all night.
No, he hasn't. The way that 12 looks completely immaculate, he hasn't had a reason to scrape that car up. Everyone else pretty much has.
He might be the only one in the field who hasn't been involved in something, let alone use the fast repair.
Here's my bigger question. Fuel mileage. Who's going to have enough left to get through up front here?
Well, I mean, we had that caution with about 28, 30 laps to go. These guys pitted.
Yep, and we're going to be restarting now. We're going to be getting the 2 to go this time by. They've clicked off about 2 or 3 laps on top of that. I could see 1 green-white checker finish for a few of these guys. I don't think I can see 2.
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, we've had a couple of laps under caution, and Larry Mack's general rule of thumb is 2 to 1. It takes 2 caution laps to burn what 1 racing lap would burn. So the caution laps are definitely going to help these guys.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, but like I said, I can see also a lot of these guys with only 1 green-white checker in them. I don't think there's going to be 2, so we're going to have to hope we get to see the white flag before another caution comes out. And a lot of these guys are coming off a pit road to try to catch up.
And right now we're looking at Chris Melton and Greg McConey on the front row. Then Pete Politi and Trevor McGee. Stephen Hines running in 5th. He's trying to catch up to this field along with Andrew Teft. Kirby Wainscott going to fall in behind him. Richard Ode in 8th place. He's 1 lap down. He got the free pass that last time. He's probably the only guy in the field hoping for another caution. But
And here is the noticeable thing. McConey is was by himself. Look who decides to run up behind him yet again.
Yeah, Stephen Hines. He was on the lead lap, so he had, the ability to move up to his spot on the outside. He's got some damage repaired there after getting turned around. We've got 2 laps to decide it. The pace car makes that hard left turn. Are we going to see the white flag or the yellow flag by the time we get back here next time? Green flag is in the air, and Melton gets away by about a car length.
Yeah, McConey's got his dancing buddy behind him. It'll be interesting to see who's going to have the advantage as they get ready to come through turns 1 and 2. McConey's going to try to side draft a little bit to try to pick up that line. They are wheel to wheel going through turns 1 and 2. I think we're going to have ourselves some fireworks coming to the line.
The last time we got 2 laps to go down the back straightaway, the 2 car was turned into the wall. This time he's still pushing that 12 and pushing him to the race lead over Melton down the back straightaway.
Cutting ready to come in through turns 3 and 4. McConey and Hines are back up front where they've been pretty much all race long. McConey drops down to the bottom, leaving Hines in the top side. Through 3 and 4, the popsicle sticks are down. The white flag is going to be up. We are racing back to the checkers.
3 cars up top, 3 cars down on the bottom, and the inside lane has the advantage. Contact between Hines and Melton. These guys get through. The white flag is in the air, and here comes a run up top. Melton all over the back bumper of McConey in the 12. McConey going to try to hold on to that bottom lane as they get a little bit of momentum coming through turn number 2.
Yeah, McConey's looking at nothing but daylight in front of him and the rearview mirror behind him, but he's going to have some help with Hines up there on the top side. He's getting shoved by the 9 car. We are going to have ourselves one of those dazzling Daytona finishes as they're getting ready to come through 3 and 4. McConey is still leading with Hines on the high side.
Little
We're
bit
going
of
to
a
have ourselves a finish.
Little bit of a bump there from Melton. Separation on the bottom lane. Here comes McConey up top to try to block. But here comes Stephen Hines up on the outside. Melton comes back with a push to McConey on the inside. And then across the line, McConey wins it. Half a car
McConey
length.
wins and wrecks.
Golly, man. Half a car length. Greg McConey. He finally scraped up that car. He scraped it up good. Look at that thing. That's a race-winning car right there, and yeah, Stephen Hines did everything he could. He got a little tap that got him into McConey across the line.
Well, I did say it was going to be a dazzling Daytona finish. Here we go.
Look at that unintentional drift through the banks of Daytona. I tell you what, Greg's going to want a shot of this. What an insane sight. That looks almost like the Penske cars of 2007, 2008. Look at that
Sam Hornish
skew.
would be proud. Sam Hornish would be proud.
That is amazing stuff.
That's a crab walk if I ever saw one.
Take another look at the finish here from this angle. Chopper has been one of our favorites, but you can see he moves up to try to block the run. Here comes Melton with a huge shot to push him back in front. Just a little push from the 9 gets the 2 sideways into the 12, and they crash across the line.
All that matters is he got to the line first. It don't matter what the car looks like. It'll look good in victory lane. Unbelievable.
Fantastic stuff. Take another look at it here.
Now, he didn't even go all the way up to fully block either. He just went up enough to disturb the air off of Hines' car, and that's all he needed.
That was all he needed. Separated the top 2 drivers just enough.
Yeah, the 9 gets into the back end of the 2, coming through the tri-oval. The 2 gets turned dead down into the 12's right rear. And away they go for the sparked out finish. Unbelievable.
We'll see if we can't get Chris Melton up in here for 3rd place.
I don't see him.
I don't either. So, Shane, I'll go ahead and give you 2nd place, Stephen Hines.
Hey, Steven, it's Shane and Liam in the booth. You got a copy?
Got a copy.
My man, you had yourself a whale of a day up there. I mean, you got tore up towards the end of it. I believe you had your fast repair saved.
I did, yeah, and I actually didn't have to use it.
Well, you're going to have to use it after that wreck.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to us about what was going on this race for you, because that car looked strong all race long.
Oh, yeah. I was working with 12 the whole time. Me, the 12 and 55. 55 got wrecked out pretty early. But, yeah, I was working with 12 the whole time, so we had a pretty good strategy going on. Then a late caution came out before we got to pit on green flags, so kind of just crashed it and ran with it. Trying to haul off 49 and the 30 on the outside, so.
Yeah,
it was a great race.
Yeah, you guys were hauling the mail the entire way. You and that 12 car were the top 2 cars that we were watching the entire race. And
Yes, sir. Yeah, shout out to the 12.
yeah, you guys definitely put on some show right at the end there. Did you have anything that could have got by him, or was it just meant to be a 2nd place finish tonight for you?
I mean, I honestly wasn't really pushing that hard. I mean, I was pushing hard, but I'm glad he got it, to be honest. I was trying to really hold off the 49, but coming out of 4, let's say, he actually rode up a little bit, and I'm trying to keep it out of the wall, but now I just got turned there at the end, so I didn't have the juice to get by him. I didn't get that late push.
Yeah, well, you put up a great 2nd place finish tonight. Before we let you go, anyone you want to thank that helps you get it done on that deuce?
No, nobody. I mean, besides my wife and my family, I don't really have any sponsor or anything. But my dad, and my mom are watching, my wife. So shout out to them. Shout out to the 12, my buddy Greg.
Hey, we'll celebrate
yeah.
this P2 finish with your buddy over there, and enjoy this one. We'll see you next time out.
Yes, sir. Thanks for the broadcast. Y'all have a good one.
You too.
All right, and now we've got our race winner, Greg McConey. Greg, how you doing?
Good, man. What's up?
Man, I tell you what, it's kind of weird to have you on the other side of this, but congratulations first off on your win at Daytona. You were able to get through that thing pretty much without a scratch on your car. I mean, until about 100 feet after the checkered flag. But kind of talk with us about your day. You spent a lot of time up front. What was it like racing out there?
No, it was fun. This is a great group of guys to race with. I love being able to come out and race with them, especially on Friday nights in the Superspeedway League. Yeah, this car was so weird tonight. Whenever you were getting a bump from behind, the nose of this car was riding too low. So every time you got hit in the rear, it would jam the nose into the ground and get you loose on the littlest bump would do it too. So that was something everybody was kind of watching out all night. You saw a couple accidents happen because of it.
Mm-hmm.
No, but it was fun. You know, I knew with the smaller field here tonight, it was pretty much going to be a game of get to the front and then do everything you can to hold that position. And had fun working with the two and working with Truth there tonight for a while. And you know, we did what we could do. We did what we needed to do to get up front, and we just rode there all night.
Yeah, your teammate in the two said it was a lot of fun working with you today, and kind of talk with us about working with him. I mean, you guys seem to stay glued together throughout the course of this whole race. What's it like? You know, you pick a partner the whole race and have the chance to work with them at the end.
Yeah, it's really nice when you get the chance to do that, and everything kind of works out that way. Steven and I, we never really raced before together, but when we were running tonight at the start of this race, him and I were working pretty well up until that first yellow. So I shot him a message at during the yellow, and I said, "Hey, you in Discord? Do you want to come down and talk?" He jumped in, and from there it was a good pairing. Truth was a great teammate to have there as well. Hated to see him get caught up in that wreck. But no, after that, it was, you know, the two and I, we did what we needed to do. We were able to coordinate pit strategies a little bit. And on that last restart there, we got super lucky that he was the only other car that got to come up to the outside line with me. So I was really worried there. At first, I thought the 14 had the P4 spot, but then he said he had an EOL. So I'm sitting there going, well, all right, eventually Steven will get back to me, but we'll wait and see. And it ended up working out that he got the outside line, and the rest is history from there.
And now, real quickly, I just got a comment on your Sam Hornish Jr. skew on your victory lap there at the end. How much fun was that to drive?
It's the worst looking car that I've had after crossing the line to finish a race, but no, it was fun. I was talking to the guys in chat. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm drifting this entire track right now. It's what it feels like. I tried to do donuts going to the right, but this car will not turn right now, so everything had to be to the left-hand side, and when you did, it turns left.
Well, awesome stuff, man. Before we let you go, who do you want to thank for such a strong run? Who helps you get it done here?
I got to thank Truth and Steven. Those guys did a great job tonight. Glad to see that Steven was able to get the P2 finish. Got to thank the guys that I was racing with, Melton. That was a heck of a race at the end. All the guys that were up front all night. Got to thank Andrew for putting on this league. He does a great job. It's always fun to come out and race with them. I got to thank Boffman Excavating, which is one of my sponsors, my grandfather-in-law's company. I got to thank McConey Crafting and Design, which is my wife's company. They also sponsor me. All the family that watches. I got to thank the fans that show up and support this league. You guys do a lot to help Andrew and these guys keep everything going. And then I got to thank you guys. You guys at SRM do a fantastic job with these races. Can't wait to go back and watch it. It's fun. I love it.
Well, awesome stuff, Greg. You ran a fantastic race today. Go ahead and celebrate with your team.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
That's going to about do it for us here. As you can see, that 12 crab walking on the side. Go ahead and show you our results here for the day. Greg McCody gets the job done by 3/100ths of a second over Stephen Hines, Chris Melton, and Pete Polini. Kirby Wainscott recovers for a 5th place finish. Then Andrew Teft, Trevor McGee, Richard Ode, Hugh Escobar, James Wagoner, Dale Prokop Valaket, Truth Hoke, and Zach Burek round out the field. Well, Shane, I tell you what, man, this was a phenomenal show. I think the racing pretty much spoke for us for most of the race. Well, we did try to fill silences. What are your kind of final thoughts here?
A 3/100ths of a second finish, the second one I've been a part of since coming here to SRM, and again, it was a Racers Elite that produced it. So these guys are definitely top of the top when it comes to a league. And it was a typical Daytona finish. We had ourselves some chaos throughout it, and a close finish here right at the end. So it's typical Daytona. It was a great race overall, and I was glad to be in the booth for this one.
A fantastic job by Racers Elite once again. I mean, these guys, they put on their Super Speedway series every Friday night. This is, of course, season number 2. But, I mean, these guys do an amazing job week in and week out of putting on incredible, clean racing. And, well, yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm just happy to be up here, be able to watch it, be able to talk about it. It's phenomenal stuff.
It really is. And we want to thank everybody who tuned in and joined us for this one. I say it's about time we get out of here because this old man is half asleep now.
Yeah, a lot of energy used there, and yeah, you're right. It's about time. We'll go ahead and call it. And as always, as you guys walk the streets of life, please don't play in traffic. Thanks for tuning in, folks.